Hello everyone, welcome back to GSL Code A. We just saw Billowy dispatch of Symbol. A little bit sloppy play from Symbol there in the last game.
Yeah, not the best we've ever seen from him. He's normally a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more calculated with his move outs. Well, we have hitmaN in his very first attempt at a GSL run up against Trap, somebody who I really thought was going to be destined for bigger things than he has accomplished so far.
Well, sometimes in the late game he has hard times, but he's very sharp in the early game. Like, the thing is, hitmaN's very good, so I don't want to completely give this to Trap, but Trap, you know, up to a 3-base timing, he executes just brilliantly. He does the build order to perfection. He's very hard to stop. Again, sharp is how you describe this guy's PVZ. So, yeah, hitmaN has his work cut out for him here.
I feel like the best thing that you could say about Trap is just like, you're not going to stop him from doing what he wants to do up until late game starts. Like,
he's going to do it very well too. So you better know how many drones you need, how to engage whatever army he's bringing. You better bring it when he brings his attack.
Well, it's time for our second Protoss versus Zerg to determine which one of these two players will be going as the second into our winners match. First map is merry-go-round for this best of 3 here at the GSL Code A Group K with Artosis and Wolf.
In the top right, our Protoss player, he is
Trap.
I gotta reinvent intros. These intros are just, I don't know.
We don't have as much time as usual on this one for some reason.
I don't like these intros. Do a good one.
All right, here we go. The left side of the map in the green for KT Rolster. If you need somebody dead, you got to call this guy. He is. Oh, come on.
If the timing lined up.
hitmaN.
Look, if the timing lined up, I was going to give you an 8 out of 10 on that. I got to bring it down to a 7 out of 10. It's not your fault, but still.
Yeah, well, they said they added a little bit more about him on the Korean side of things. I think they said it was like his first time or something, blah, blah, blah. And then they said him.
Well, hitmaN, if you are a Mr. Bitter fan, then you know that he loved this guy. He does have some very strong games. He played ZVZ the other day in Pro League, right? And kind of lost a bunch early on and then just got slaughtered.
Yeah, it was not his best game.
King Sejong Station.
Yeah.
I appreciated, though, when he left the game when the roaches were on the way to his base. Like, before they even got in, he's like, oh, there are your roaches. Yeah, okay, GG, it's over. Like,
yeah.
But he's actually a very strong Zerg player. So I'm interested to see if he has what it takes to take out Trap, who, in my opinion, Trap's best matchup is, in fact, PVZ. That's where I'm always most impressed by him.
By the way, what do you think about... So he goes over here with the probe, forces the pool first, because whether there's a forge or not, you know, if a probe's there, you just got to go pool first, because it's just going to block your hatch anyways, no matter what. Then he goes into forge. Do you think that's necessary? Do you think that actually it's more efficient to go Nexus and then forge, even if you force the pool first?
Well...
On these positions, do you think it's possible to do that, or do you think he's just, like, trying to be extra safe?
I think with the wideness of the ramp, it's a bit safer.
Yeah, it is pretty wide,
I have not
actually.
played this map enough yet, but you know, if you're forcing like the pool first, right, as you say, for sure. Now, what if they just make 6 Zerglings and send them across? Is your cannon actually up in time? I don't know the timings of the map exactly yet, so a little bit harder to say.
Well, with the pylon you put down too, you know, the Zerglings have to make a choice. They kill the pylon or they go to your base.
That's true if you leave the pylon.
If you leave
But
it.
if you want to cancel, you know?
Which I think costs you a lot of money. So I was just asking you, because...
Yeah. I think it's a fair question and a hard one to answer perfectly.
Because if he gets
it's
the
definitely
Nexus
safer.
up, and then the forge, like, he gets way ahead from forcing the pool first.
Certainly. But is that worth the risk, you know?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
Thing is, another piece of the way Trap plays, because I've actually studied a lot of his games in the past, he will stay on the build exactly a lot of the time. Parting was like this a lot as well with the Immortal Push. Like, no matter what the Zerg did, he would just still do exactly the same thing with his build. Even though he was scouting it, he'd just be like, okay, yeah, you're doing this. And still, you know, same timing on the forge, same timing on the gateway, same everything. Yeah. Just for his build to stay perfectly in line with how he knows to do it. So that could be what Trap's doing. I'm not saying it is. In fact, I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, Just wanted to pick your brain on that one for a bit.
Thanks.
And, I mean, with a tight wall here, you can just kill the debris. I like that a lot. That's a way to guarantee that you're going to be totally safe against anything. And then the structure that you kill doesn't belong to you. It's not like you lose something for killing it. So that's why I like maps like this. First map we ever had this on was like, was it Whirlwind that had the neutral depot on the edge? I can't remember which map it was. That was a long time ago too.
Yeah,
but I love
Whirlwind is one of the older ones with it for sure, but I don't think it was the first.
I love that concept though.
Yeah.
A lot. A Terminus Re had a
Did
neutral
Antigua
depot.
Shipyard have it?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
If it did, I think that was the first. Because Antigua Shipyard is like really hella old.
I miss that map actually.
You miss that map.
Just not because
you miss Antigua Shipyard.
Yeah, just because of how tough it was for certain matchups. Like, it was fun to see that.
Oh, gross, Wolf. You're gross. I hate it. I hate that map. It's so terrible. Nothing felt so bad as playing that map.
Well, I mean, we have a layer coming up here really fast for hitmaN and the Oracle coming out. But before this, like, really heats up, I just want to say, like, I do miss how certain map picks were pretty hard. Like, they were just like, it's like, okay, well, I'm playing pro, so I'm going to pick this hard map, like for GSTL or you know, just in GSL in general, like maps like Entombed Valley that were like just so favored for one race. We don't really have that as much anymore. It feels like where you pick a map and it's like tough for the race, but they still win on it a lot of the time. Hold that thought. We had probably 4 Oracle kills here, maybe even a 5th one,
maybe even a 6th.
Wow. No turret here, so that's what happens.
Whoa.
Oh my god, I can't believe he didn't lose
That
it.
was definitely some missed micro there. He should have taken at least 1 to 2 less clean hits. But you know what? He's killed a bunch of drones, and he's actually gone right into his 3rd base. Obviously, we saw that before the Oracle got over there, but he's done all this, and he's not even going to make a Void Ray. He's just skipping that all together. So that allows him to get some other tech out quicker. Now, of course, if there was like a quicker Roach Warren or something, he could be in trouble, but as is, should be fine with all this. So this was kind of like a pretty greedy way to go about it, but it's working out well for Trap so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, against Trap, you don't even want to try to break him for doing something greedy like this because he's so good at defending. This Oracle should get maybe 2, but he has to leave. Doesn't even get 2.
Doesn't want to lose it,
Wow.
and he does lose it. Now, that's where the mismicroing it before really comes in. I mean, not having an Oracle and having an Oracle
are 2 very different things.
They are 2 very different. Well said, Wolf.
Well,
one you have it and the other you don't, and
I don't know about this
difference.
warping right here.
Yeah, this is kind of a funny one.
This is just kind of like...
Well, he's going to meet some Hydras, and he's not really going to kill very much at all.
He's going to meet these Hydras, but he's not really going to like them that much. He's definitely never going to meet them again.
Hey, at least he has some good information. He lost the Oracle, so his scouting is definitely way down. And to be able to see that his opponent is, in fact, going Hydras and not Roaches, definitely a useful piece of information.
I just don't know why he's spending so much money on this. He's like, clearly not going to be able to do damage. He warped in 3 more to do it again. And plus all this, he should lose the pylon because hitmaN's going to realize, like, okay, you got a pylon nearby, so he's probably going to lose that too.
But do you know what it's doing, though? It's buying time for these cannons to warp in, and this suddenly Trap is making me a very happy man. I love it to see people who are not prepared for an attack like this warp in a bunch of cannons because, you know, a lot of money from hitmaN is being put into Hydras right now. He's only at 54 drones. He's got a ton of units, and he's decided he's going to walk across and do a bit of damage. But look at this. 3 cannons up a ramp with a bunch of sentries, and then down at the 3rd base, I don't know how many cans he has yet because they haven't shown us, but he has a pretty decent amount.
4 cannons plus the Nexus cannon.
Yeah. This is pretty legit. He's stood up pretty tight, and he's going to get his Colossus out before that Nexus cannon is done. He has plenty of sentries. This kind of big investment from hitmaN, I don't know if it's going to give any return.
Well,
oh, he
does get a sentry there. Yeah, 2 in total actually after that second one falls, and he's got you know, the second Colossus popping out. This is what we were saying about Trap. You just can't mess up his build. Like, he's just like, going to add a few cannons and just be fine. But now the transition is on for hitmaN, right? He's getting the Hive tech out, getting his +2 for range, Roach speed, Hydra speed. You know, he did that with slow Hydras, so that hurts a little bit, makes it a little bit tougher to commit to that engagement. Made a ton of drones. I think he made up maybe 15 drones at one point, so he's up to nearly 70 now. But he's going to want to take a 4th base, and the question is where. does he take it? Does he take the one to the bottom left? That's something he's going to probably want to put some static defense at because Warp Prism Harass can be quite strong there.
Certainly can, but far enough away that to send an actual attack there probably isn't going to happen. You know, he's going to have to keep on poking away at that third base with his main army. Oh, well, we do have a Templar Archives on the way, getting Blink and +2, of course. 3 Vipers on the way, but he will have High Templars well in advance of those getting there, so it's going to be that little dance of feedback versus Vipers.
That's always a scary, scary dance. It's a very expensive one.
It's a very important one as well.
Yeah. It's hard to snipe the High Temple before they get feedbacks off. You just need to make sure your Viper casts its spell before it dies. Most of the time, that's how it works.
Sniping High Templar in ZVP, like, if you don't have Swarm Hosts, that's pretty difficult. Swarm Hosts or Broodlords, you know, it's...
Yeah, I mean,
they just run back into the ball, and there's force fields and stuff, and to kill them is pretty difficult.
If you're trying to snipe High Temple with Hydras, your Hydras are too close. See, this is what I'm talking about. You got the Zealots over here just going to kill the hatchery. It's going to probably keep happening because there's, like, no creep over there. To defend the hatch against Zealots, he's going to have to send a large amount of units down to that location.
Well, this Warp Prism being found right now. Not able to get any damage done in that main base.
I'm worried for hitmaN without a fourth base here, because this composition that he has is like, it's a one-hit wonder, basically. If he grabs that Fake Colossus too, he's really going to regret that, but he can see that with the Overseer.
Yeah. So good scouting in, but he can't really attack into this position anyway.
I don't think so.
He's going to try. It's definitely not going to work, I would say. Gets the feedback
Blinding Cloud here is decent, actually.
Yeah, the Blinding Cloud does a lot of work. He actually does snag one of these Colossi, and he actually got quite a few sentries. I guess he was out of energy on the sentries because I just wanted to see a little row of force fields because that would have stopped that in his tracks. In the meantime, we do have this other group of units going after the third Nexus.
Yep, he even drops a Contaminate on that.
Kind of a messy little tight area he's trying to attack through.
He just has this massive army supply, but it's just not the right composition to deal with these Colossi. He has no Corruptors, he doesn't have any Yanks left. And that's the issue here. He can't, even though his army is twice as big as Traps, the composition is twice as better for Traps. So it's just so much better, so he can't fight this with all the Hydras. He needs more Viper energy.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're playing with Roach Hydra, you have to go into Viper if you're going to continue to make them. But, you know, when they get High Templars out, the Vipers become harder and harder to utilize correctly, and if you can't get those Viper spells off correctly, you will just lose the game. Your Lair Tech army is not going to beat a fully well-rounded Protoss army. There's just no way.
No.
You have to pick out the most important units, such as these Colossi, especially these Colossi. And we haven't been able to see him really do that yet. He got one.
I mean, this is almost like a Helm's Deep situation, right? Like, he's just attacking into this fortress.
Oh
wow. Sniper High Templar with those roaches.
Oh, wow.
It was a bit sloppy by Trap to have those out in the front like that.
A little bit, but let's remember also, Trap is low on sentries right now, so it's hard for him to actually zone out any units correctly. He's got to really stay on top of his army and micro it well.
This harassment could do a lot of damage, but it's not going to matter if he dies here. So many roaches, and this time without force fields, I think he has an overwhelming amount. Double grabs here. I think hitmaN may just be able to push through.
Well, it really looks like he's killed so many of these Colossi at this point. There's no High Templar to speak of. Without splash damage, you're not killing this army that we see right now.
No, you're not. And no, that's game. I think he's just going to kill too much. There's no way to rebuild his Colossus. Doesn't matter how many drones he kills over here. He's not surviving this attack.
Indeed, very well done here. You know, the first defense by Trap was pretty good, but I would definitely say he lost too many of his sentries, and that made it a bit harder. His High Templars then did get picked off. We were talking about how hard it can be to pick them off. But part of that is that he has no sentries to force field out any units running up to kill High Templars. So Trap had those a little bit too far forward. The Roaches picked them off, and then he got every yoink off he needed, got rid of the Colossus, and bam, it was done. He picked off High Templars, he picked off Colossus, and that makes his army win.
Yeah. That was, I mean, he made a 3-base versus 3-base type of attack work just with overwhelming units and constantly picking things off.
You know, I'm actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm impressed with hitmaN and his play. That game, the more impressed I am with it. Wow, I'm not speaking well this morning. Don't forget the blinding clouds that went down on the ramp. which made him run back through that tiny little choke, and that was like a parade of sentries getting hit by units, which picked off the sentries. And then with the sentries gone, he really needed the High Templars to live, and he couldn't force field out anything. So